Have you ever wondered why the things you want most come with pain? Why every time you reach for something that matters, life seems to put walls in your way? Look around you. People living boring, empty lives are often the ones who got really good at avoiding anything hard. They float through life, always taking the easy way. Never hungry, never cold, never really tested. And there's something missing in their eyes, an emptiness where purpose should be. But the people who've built amazing lives, they look different. You can see it in how they carry themselves, the quiet strength in their eyes, the calm confidence in how they move. These aren't people who never faced hard times. These are people who were made stronger by hard times. The easy life isn't helping you, it's making you invisible. What if I told you that the hard thing you're facing right now, that problem that feels like it might break you, isn't blocking your growth, but is exactly the path to your growth? What if pain isn't something to run from, but a sign pointing exactly where your soul needs to go? Think about the last time you felt really stuck, when moving forward seemed impossible, when the pressure on your chest made you question everything. Now ask yourself, what if that heavy feeling wasn't punishment, but preparation? This isn't about pretending bad things are good. This is an old truth that every wise tradition has taught and every great person has lived. Life doesn't reward people who seek comfort. It rewards people willing to walk through fire. We don't grow where things feel easy. We grow where we struggle. Today, I'm going to share why the path that feels like hell often leads to heaven, while the road that looks like heaven often leads to hell. We'll explore why your soul needs resistance like your muscles need weight, and why running from necessary pain might be the biggest mistake of your life. Let me tell you what happens when we avoid the hard path that would help us grow. You wake up one day at 40 or 50 or 60 and realize something awful. You've been living someone else's life. You've been making choices based on what hurts least rather than what matters most. Your relationships are shallow because you never risked being real. Your work feels empty because you chose safe over meaningful. Your body feels weak because you chose what felt good over what made you stronger. You didn't play it safe. You died a little each day. The worst pain isn't in facing hard things. It's in realizing you've spent years running from them. I see it everywhere. People stuck in jobs they hate because they're afraid of the short-term money worries. Relationships that died years ago but continue as empty acts because ending them feels too scary. Dreams dropped at the first sign of trouble. Purposes forgotten because they didn't work out right away. Look at your own life. Where have you chosen the easy path only to find yourself lost and full of regret? Where have you traded short-term comfort for long-term emptiness? Who might you have become if you'd faced the hard stuff instead of running from it? Stop. Take a breath. Feel the weight of that question. Let it sink into the places you've been avoiding. Every time you avoid necessary pain, you're stealing from your future self. You're taking away potential from the person you could become. And these debts grow with interest that will eventually come due. Your comfort habit isn't harmless. It's theft from your future. Who's paying the price for your comfort habit right now? What parts of yourself are dying because you won't go through the growing pains they need? Here's a question to look in the mirror. What hard growth are you avoiding right now that your future self will wish you had faced? Drop a fire emoji in the comments if this question cuts through your defenses, because we're just getting started. The ancient thinker Seneca understood this truth deeply. In his letters, he wrote that hard times strengthen the mind, as hard work does the body. He wasn't just speaking in pretty words. He was pointing to a basic truth about how humans grow that modern science is only now catching up to. When we look at the lives of the most amazing people in history, we find a pattern. They didn't succeed despite problems, but because of them. Their challenges became their strength. Problems don't block your path. They are the path. Think about the idea of getting stronger from stress, developed by thinker Nassim Taleb. While some things break under pressure and other things resist breaking, some things actually get stronger when stressed. Your muscles, your immune system, your mind, all are built to get stronger through the right kind of challenge. Remove the challenge, and you remove the growth. This isn't just fancy talk, it's wired into our bodies. When you lift weights, you create tiny tears in your muscles. In response, your body rebuilds them stronger than before. Without the temporary hurt, there can be no lasting strength. Pain isn't what stops growth, it's what makes growth happen. The same idea works for mental and emotional growth. Scientists studying what happens after trauma have found that many people don't just recover from hard times, they actually grow in amazing ways. They build deeper relationships, appreciate life more, develop greater inner strength, grow spiritually, and see new possibilities they couldn't see before. But here's the important difference. Not all pain leads to growth. There's a difference between helpful pain and harmful suffering, between stress that builds you up and stress that breaks you down. The key is in how you face difficulty. Ancient coming-of-age rituals across cultures understood this difference. Young people weren't randomly hurt. They were carefully challenged through well-designed tests meant to transform them. The pain had purpose. The challenge had meaning. The suffering was a door to walk through, not a pit to fall into. In our comfort-obsessed world today, we've lost these wise traditions. We've come to see all discomfort as bad, rather than something to work through. We've built fancy technologies to avoid even tiny inconveniences. We've made pills for every feeling that isn't immediately pleasant. And by doing this, we've accidentally blocked our own growth. Take a moment. Think about what this means for your life right now. What if your instinct to avoid anything hard is the very thing stopping you from becoming who you could be? Think about it. Would you respect a parent who removed every challenge from their child's path? Who did their homework, fought their battles, and protected them from every disappointment? Of course not. Because deep down, we all know that kind of protection actually weakens the child. You can't protect someone from the very experiences that would make them strong. Yet we treat ourselves this way all the time. We avoid hard conversations. We quit challenging projects. We numb uncomfortable feelings. We take the easiest path in our work, our relationships, our personal growth. What if life is actually a wise parent, putting in front of you exactly the challenges you need to become who you're meant to be? Let's look deeper at the 3 areas where facing hard things most powerfully changes us: the physical, the relational, and the spiritual. In each area, we'll meet a character that keeps us trapped in comfort. In our physical lives, we face the comfort seller, that part of ourselves that promises ease instead of strength. The comfort seller whispers, "Why exercise when you could rest? Why cook a healthy meal when you could order takeout? Why get up early when you could sleep in?" These aren't small choices. Each time we give in to the comfort seller, we take a tiny bit of life force from ourselves. Each surrender weakens our will a little bit. Each moment of chosen ease when we needed challenge makes us less able to face future challenges. Comfort isn't neutral. It's either rest you've earned or slow decay. Think about what happens in your body when you avoid physical challenge. Your muscles get smaller, your heart gets weaker, your bones lose strength, your immune system works less well, your hormones shift toward inflammation and breakdown. Nature doesn't keep what isn't used. Your body keeps score of every time you avoid necessary challenge, and it collects payment with interest. But what happens when you face physical challenges? When you willingly do hard things? Something amazing happens. You don't just keep your physical abilities. You go beyond your old limits. You discover that what you thought were your limits were mostly illusions. You tap into strength and endurance you never knew you had. You don't need to explain why you choose the harder path. You don't need to explain why you face challenges when others seek ease. You don't need to explain why you understand that real growth demands real challenge. Pause. Feel your own physical body. Where have you been avoiding necessary challenge? Where have you been giving in to the comfort seller? In our relationships, we face the approval seeker, the part of us that would rather be liked than respected, would rather avoid conflict than be real. The approval seeker avoids hard conversations, setting boundaries, and the necessary tension that deepens connection. Your need to be liked is killing your chance to be loved. Real relationships aren't built on constant comfort. They're forged through the fire of honest talk, healthy conflict, vulnerability, and the courage to disappoint others when staying true to yourself demands it. The deepest closeness often comes from working through the very discomfort we try to avoid. Think about the relationships in your life that matter most. Weren't they made stronger through challenges you overcame together? Didn't the tense moments, when faced with courage and care, lead to deeper understanding? The comfortable relationship that never faces challenges often stays shallow, while the relationship that weathers storms grows roots that can stand any test. You don't need to explain why you choose depth over niceness. You don't need to explain why you speak truth when silence would be easier. You don't need to explain why you know that real love grows in realness, not pretending. In our spiritual lives, we face the certainty addict, the part of us that clings to familiar beliefs, rather than facing the discomfort of growth. The certainty addict prefers the comfort of known limits over the scary freedom of possibility. Your certainty isn't wisdom. It's a prison that looks like safety. Spiritual growth means walking into the desert of uncertainty. It means questioning your most treasured beliefs. It asks you to let old versions of yourself die so new life can grow. This is why every wisdom tradition includes some kind of challenge, from vision quests to meditation retreats to fasting. These practices aren't about punishing yourself. They're about creating the conditions where transformation can happen. The resistance you feel when facing your deepest beliefs isn't a warning sign. It's an invitation. The discomfort of having two conflicting ideas in your head isn't something to avoid. It's exactly what it feels like when your mind is growing. The dizzy feeling of questioning who you are isn't something wrong. It's what happens right before authentic becoming. Here's one powerful insight to start carrying with you. Resistance isn't what stops your growth. It's what makes growth possible. The obstacles in your path aren't there because life is against you, but because life is for you. Your greatest growth will always happen exactly where you feel most challenged to grow. Stop and breathe that in. Let it challenge what you've been taught about comfort and ease. It's time to face the false identity that's keeping you trapped in the comfort addiction. Who have you become in your attempt to avoid necessary pain? What mask are you wearing to hide from the challenges that would transform you? Maybe you've become the effort minimizer, the person who always finds the logical reason why doing just enough is enough. Why push myself when okay is enough? Why strive when getting by takes so much less work? The effort minimizer isn't lazy. They're strategic. Their strategy just happens to value comfort over becoming. You've made your life perfect for everything except becoming who you're meant to be. Or maybe you've become the spiritual bypasser, using wise-sounding words to avoid the messy work of growth. Everything happens for a reason, so why fight what is? The ego's wants aren't real anyway. The spiritual bypasser mixes up surrender with avoidance, letting go with giving up. Or perhaps you're the forever planner, always preparing for change without ever actually changing, always reading another book, taking another course, designing another system, but never actually stepping into the arena where real growth happens. The forever planner mixes up learning about the path with walking the path. Whoever you've become in your running from necessary challenge, I invite you to see that identity clearly now, because it isn't the truth of who you are. It's who you've pretended to be to avoid the sacred discomfort of becoming. Ask yourself, who am I protecting by avoiding challenge? What version of myself am I defending that needs to die? Stop here. Let that question sink in. Who needs to die so that your true self can live? You don't need to explain why you choose the path of resistance. You don't need to explain why you embrace necessary pain. You don't need to explain why you understand that comfort is often the enemy of becoming. Think about what your life would look like if you changed your relationship with resistance, if instead of running from difficulty, you moved toward it with purpose, not looking for pain for its own sake, but recognizing challenge as the spark for your growth. What if the next time you felt resistance rising, that tightness in your chest, that urge to back away, that rationalizing mind that says, "This isn't necessary," you saw it as a sign pointing toward growth? What if you read that internal resistance as a clue that something valuable lies on the other side? What if resistance isn't your enemy, but your compass? Here's a truth that might hit your soul. The pain you've been avoiding isn't blocking your path forward. It is the path forward. And every moment you spend figuring out how to get around necessary pain is a moment you're not becoming who you're meant to be. Ask yourself, what hard truth have I been avoiding that, if faced, would change everything? Ask yourself, who gets upset when I grow beyond my comfortable limits? Ask yourself, what challenge am I feeling right now that is actually the doorway to my next growth? You don't need to explain why you choose the harder path when everyone around you chooses easy. You don't need to explain why you understand what most will never get, that heaven's door often looks like hell from the outside, while hell's entrance is covered with comfort and ease. Let's go back to where we started, that moment when you face resistance and must choose whether to embrace it or avoid it. Imagine approaching that resistance differently now, not as something blocking your happiness, but as the exact path toward it. Not as something to get past quickly, but as something to engage with purposefully. Your problems aren't in your way, they are the way. When your body hurts during exercise, rather than seeing it as a signal to stop, you recognize it as exactly what growth feels like. When emotional discomfort comes up in a relationship, rather than retreating into people-pleasing or avoiding conflict, you lean into the tension, knowing that real connection lies on the other side. When spiritual discomfort challenges who you think you are, rather than clinging to your familiar limits, you allow old versions of yourself to die so that something more true can grow. This isn't about loving suffering or chasing pain for its own sake. It's about recognizing that on the path of meaningful growth, discomfort isn't just unavoidable, it's necessary. It's the resistance that builds your strength, the pressure that makes your diamond, the fire that forges your steel. Stop. Take a moment. Think about one area of resistance you've been avoiding. Feel what happens in your body when you think about moving toward it rather than away from it. The people who've built extraordinary lives aren't those who've avoided difficulty. They're those who've built an entirely different relationship with it. They've learned to see resistance not as punishment, but as invitation. Not as wall, but as doorway. Not as enemy, but as teacher. They don't just survive the fire, they become it. And here's what happens when you embrace this truth. The quality of your pain changes. What once felt like meaningless hurt becomes purposeful challenge. What once felt like cruel resistance becomes sacred initiation. The suffering doesn't go away, it transforms. This is the ancient secret known by every wisdom tradition. It's not about escaping suffering, but changing it, turning the lead of necessary pain into the gold of meaningful growth. Today, I invite you to start this alchemical process in your own life, to build a new relationship with resistance, to see that life isn't punishing you with obstacles. It's directing you toward growth through them. Your comment oath today isn't a generic takeaway or a feel-good saying. It's a declaration of a new relationship with resistance. Type these words in the comments as a promise to yourself. I welcome worthy challenges as my path. This simple phrase holds revolutionary power. It doesn't deny difficulty. It changes your relationship with it. It doesn't pretend the path is easy. It acknowledges that the worthy path rarely is. It puts you back in control when facing challenge. Type, I welcome worthy challenges as my path in the comments below if you're ready to transform your relationship with life's difficulties. Let's build a community of people who understand this sacred truth. If today's message resonated with you, I invite you to join me on this ongoing journey of transformation. Subscribe to this channel as we continue exploring the counterintuitive wisdoms that lead to extraordinary living. In our next video, we'll be diving deeper into how to tell the difference between helpful pain that leads to growth and harmful suffering that leads nowhere. You'll learn a practical way to decide when to push through discomfort and when to change direction. A skill that changes everything on the path of meaningful growth. Not all pain makes you stronger. Some just breaks you. Learning the difference changes everything. We'll also explore the brain science behind why embracing the right kind of challenge literally rewires your brain for greater resilience, focus, and well-being. You'll discover how to use this understanding to transform not just what you do, but your entire relationship with difficulty. This isn't just fancy talk, it's practical wisdom for living. Each video builds on what came before, creating a complete approach to meaningful growth rather than disconnected tips and tricks. The journey we're on together isn't for everyone. It's for those rare souls who sense that there's something more available in this life than comfort and convenience, who somehow know that greatness isn't found in ease, but in purposeful challenge, who are willing to embrace sacred resistance while everyone around them only seeks comfort. If you're one of these souls, subscribe now and turn on notifications, because the path of transformation isn't walked alone. It's traveled together with others who understand both its demands and its rewards. In the quiet moments, when no one is watching and no one is there to praise you, you make a basic choice. Will you seek comfort, or will you seek becoming? The easy path and the worthy path rarely take you to the same place. Life wants you to grow. It puts before you exactly the challenges you need for your growth. The obstacle is not blocking your path. It is your path. Pain is not the enemy of your journey, but its necessary friend. The fire doesn't destroy the gold. It reveals it by burning away everything that isn't gold. Your challenges aren't punishment. They're invitation to discover what remains when everything non-essential has been burned away. Maybe the worst tragedy isn't suffering, but suffering without meaning. Pain endured without purpose. Resistance avoided that would have led to transformation. Tonight, as you lay down to sleep, ask yourself, what challenge am I currently avoiding that deep down I know I need to face? What necessary discomfort am I trying to get around that holds the key to my next growth? Then listen for the quiet voice beneath all the noise, the one that knows, the one that has always known. The road to heaven often feels like hell, while the road to hell is paved with comfort and ease. Choose your path not by how it feels right now, but by who it's making you become. Your challenges aren't random. They're your compass pointing to growth.